All right, everyone, welcome back into another live edition of the Patriots Beat Podcast right here on the CLNS Media Network. Brian Hines from Pat's Pulpit, joined as always by Alex Barth from 98.5 The Sports Hub. Day 12 of Patriots training camp in the books. The last open session, it should be maybe their last practice here. They might have one more before they ship it up to Green Bay, but they're in game prep mode here again with Houston on the horizon Thursday, coming to Gillette. Another one of these practices where it was a lot of scout teamwork. They had the cards out, just looking like we're getting ready for Houston here on the practice fields today.
Yeah, and it's been really interesting to see how much game prep they've done, just because in my 6 years covering camp, I don't ever remember seeing something that resembled a regular season practice as much as the majority of these last 2 days have. Now, not everything has. We saw the one-on-ones, we saw the late 11-on-11 starters 2-minute drill goal line, but I can't help, and Brian, maybe I'm naive for this, like, feel free to push back. You had Bill Belichick say earlier in the week, yeah, we have everything installed that we want to get installed. You had Bailey Zappi say earlier this week that the offense is ahead of schedule. So I can't help but link those two things. I believe they're ahead of schedule, or I believe they believe they're ahead of schedule. I believe they're very happy with their progress at this point, and you're seeing them kind of get down to some more finer detail stuff that they certainly didn't get to last year, and even in other years, I don't know that they got to.
Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't even really think about putting those together, but you heard Zappy say it
Well,
yesterday.
again, maybe I'm being naive. Maybe I'm going a step too far. That's possible.
It makes sense though. But and then I mean, we were saying like yesterday, you had the in stadium Friday, which was low key, and then Saturday was off, and then Sunday was low key. We're showing up on Monday yesterday and being like, all right, we're gonna like ramp this thing up. We're gonna have the refs there, the pads on. We're really gonna get going. And then it was just kind of one of these regular season practices, if you would. So that's a good point. It does kind of seem like they are ahead of schedule. They're not really, rushing to install things. They're just, hey, we have some time here to prep for this game, and that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, and it's you can't help but look at it and think it's a good sign.
Yep. Especially where they were at this point last year, right? Rushing to install all these different things,
Yeah.
changing their offense a few times, but so good stuff. But there was a few competitive periods that we could take away stuff from. Obviously, the one-on-ones. I thought the biggest or most competitive was that last red zone period, which Mike Gesicki saw Kayshon Boutte's catch yesterday and said, I have to one up that
Yeah.
because that was a spectacular catch, kind of like back of the end zone around, I think it was Peppers, right? There was like
Yes. Well, it was Peppers and I don't remember who, somebody else was there. I think
there
it
was
might have been Sean Wade.
ton of defenders there. Poor Julius Peppers just keeps getting beat by Mike Gesicki, and there's nothing he can do about it because just like snagging it out of the air with his right hand, getting both feet down. It was an awesome catch, probably better than Boutte's yesterday, which was amazing too. But I think the bigger thing you could take out of that is you're starting to kind of see this Mike Gesicki, Mac Jones connection grow, and that chemistry is growing after what was kind of a quiet start to the summer from Gesicki there.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about this yesterday. I talked to him yesterday. I feel like the chemistry is coming along with Mac Jones, and that's a big part of it. I think he's just feeling more comfortable in his role. We'll see how it continues to build, but it's super encouraging to see him get involved because we talked about, they haven't done as much red zone as they did early in camp when they struggled. And we covered the red zone struggles pretty extensively, but a lot of it was, hey, where's Mike Gesicki? This is a guy that's supposed to be showing up in the red zone and he wasn't. And he's showing up elsewhere now, but you would think if he's showing up elsewhere, he's going to show up in the red zone. So I think we never really closed the book on those red zone issues. They just kind of moved on and they were doing better with full field. And we said, okay, when they do get back in the red zone, I think it'll look a lot better because now Mac and Mike Gesicki are more on the same page.
Yep. Obviously, big body, big target in that red zone. So that'll be good for them to get on the same page. Hunter Henry still pretty active. It looks like Hunter Henry and Ramondre really are kind of two of Mac's favorite targets working the underneath. A lot of passes to them again today, especially Ramondre working against the linebackers. He looks like he really likes to go there. So that's looks like Mac's two guys now. Juju's still in that mix, but Tyquan had a pretty good day today too after what was a few bad practices the last few days.
he needed a good day. He got open deep, caught a deep ball from Zappy. He made a nice contested catch against Joshua Bledsoe for Mac Jones, climbing the ladder to go up and get it, coming down, holding on through contact. So that's super encouraging. Look, Andy beat Christian Gonzalez in one-on-one. Look, it's just it's just one day. He's got a long way to go to dig these are the days we thought he was going to have, like, consistently coming into camp. He's got a long way to go to dig himself out of the hole he's dug himself into. And Demario Douglas is right there on his tail, maybe even ahead of him at this point. But, if there was a time to turn it around, get going right before the first preseason game. We'll see if he has a good game Thursday night, we can start talking about, okay, slow start to camp, but hey, he's found a step and we're rolling. You can't let this day be a one-off, but yeah, it was refreshing to see him actually. The catch against was the big one for me because he was struggling so much with any kind of contact at the catch point. And I thought Bledsoe gave him a pretty good shot on that one play, and to still hold on to the ball and complete the catch. That's what he needs to do. That's what he wasn't doing last year. And we looked at, we said, all right, he's a rookie. This should be his point of emphasis in the offseason. And one catch doesn't erase the 4 or 5 he hasn't made in that situation, but hey, okay, at least he can do it.
And that one-on-one against Gonzalez, really good rep, kind of sold like a fade looking back inside and then broke off outside. Good rep there. How much are you expecting to see from him here Thursday night?
Taekwon?
Yeah.
He should play. And I know it's looking like Devontae Parker won't play, Juju won't play, like some of those veteran, when I say veteran, I mean non-rookie receivers, but he's got to play. He's in a position battle. He's in a position battle with Demario Douglas because Demario Douglas is going to play. And I think Demario Douglas is going to play well. So Taekwon's got to be there to go punch for punch. It's not just like, is Taekwon going to play? He's got to play a good amount. I want to see him for at least a half. So whether or not that happens, I don't know. As Bill said today, they're still working on it. If you believe that, I got a bridge to sell you. Dietrich Wise told us after practice that he's not playing. So, they figured it out pretty quickly. Right. But I would hope Thornton plays a lot because we got to see a lot from him. Dietrich
Wise is sharing all the secrets this year. Told us earlier, like they were taking the pads off one day.
Oh, you're right.
And now he's saying he's not playing. I guess
his captaincy might be in danger there.
Yeah. Jeez, Dietrich. But yeah, you mentioned Pop Douglas. I mean, a nasty move going on Miles Bryant in one-on-ones, beat Christian Gonzalez too. I think he's undefeated in one-on-ones this summer. So
Pop Douglas, he is the last one that is undefeated because it was Hunter Henry going into today, and Kyle Duggar beat him pretty cleanly. Finally got him. And so it is just Demario Douglas who is undefeated.
Yeah, so he's looking awesome still. He bulked up. He said 183, that range. So not quite what he's listed on as the roster, but he did put some muscle on there. It looked like.
Yeah, like I said, I having seen him at the Shrine Bowl, seeing him now, I said 15 pounds might be a stretch, but if you told me put on 10 or 12, which based on what he told us today is about 10, I'd believe that. And he's carried it well, which is so big that he's still just as quick, even with that added mass.
Yeah, that stop-start, we keep talking about it, but he just keeps showing it. Very impressive. Working some punt returns, too, with Kayshon Boutte. He did muff one. Douglas did. Yeah. Do you see who punted that? Was that Behringer?
I think that was Behringer, yeah.
That was Behringer. We'll get to that later because that was some Douglas talked about him, and we'll get to that. But that was most of the pass catchers, I believe. Any other? I know you were watching the one-on-ones there. Anything else kind of stand out?
Yeah, we had the Taekwon win on Gonzalez. Jack Jones and Kendrick Bourne continue to have some really good battles.
Yeah.
Jack Jones got the better of him today. Some really good coverage reps by Juwan Bentley and Ramondre Stevenson. Ramondre won them. It was really close, but 2 years ago, it wouldn't have been close at all. And just the way Juwan Bentley's continued to develop. He made that big jump in coverage last year, and everybody talked about how important that was. I don't know that he's going to make as big of a jump this year. I don't know that he could without essentially becoming like a 260-pound Fred Warner, but he does. You can see that he's continued to kind of work on those coverage skills, and that's big.
Yep, and Jack Jones had a good pass breakup in 11s too. Matt kind of uncorked a post downfield to Kendrick Bourne, and Jack was there to break it up. So he's still involved here defensively. We talked about that yesterday. There could be a path for them just to punish him after everything that's gone on, whether that's Marcus Jones outside, a guy like Isaiah Bolden, but they're they're just keep throwing him out there, and he's making some of those ball hawk plays that we saw his rookie year. So that's just still something to monitor here as we go on. It's court date is in 10 days, so we'll maybe get a little more clarification there, but he's out there for now.
Yeah, and like you said, that'll be, I think it's the day before the second preseason game. So I actually don't know how that's going to work
with joint practices.
He can do the court date on Zoom, if from Green Bay, if he's going to have to come back and miss a day. I would assume he's not going to play in the game. Yeah. But it's that will be that kind of snuck up on us fast. I forgot that's coming up, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that, because it'll shape the conversation around him again.
So it's Wednesday and Thursday next week, 16th and 17th are the joint practices, and then Jax has his court date the 18th, and then the preseason game is Saturday the 19th. So his availability kind of throughout that week will be interesting to monitor there. But the last offensive note, well, pass catcher note, because we'll talk about the offensive line in a second. Yeah. But your guy Johnny Lumpkin, contact. We can see him in the run game Thursday night. He shed his red non-contact jersey, so whatever that was, it was only a few days, and he's ready for contact on Thursday.
So I guess when Greg Bedard was on with Felger, he brought up Johnny Lumpkin, and Felger hadn't heard of Johnny Lumpkin before, which I'm now kicking myself, because I was on with Felger like an hour before that happened, and he asked me like, "Oh, what other players do you want to talk about?" And I didn't say Johnny Lumpkin. Like, that's so on. I would have loved to have been the person to introduce Felger to Johnny Lumpkin, and I missed my chance, and I'll regret it forever.
Would that be like a Felger guy or something? Does he like those?
No, he would be like, Johnny Lumpkin. What do we do, Johnny Lumpkin, on your own time? Like, that's such not his guy. Like, he would make up that name. Oh yeah, they don't have any star receivers, but you're over here hyping up, I don't know, the third tight end, Johnny Lumpkin. That's how he would, like, that sounds like a name him and Jim Murray would make up. And I almost had, like, I wanted them to draft Jake Bobo so bad, just because Felger and Maz call all the fans they don't like Bobos. And I was so excited for there to be Bobos, the people who really like Jake Bobo. But Johnny Lumpkin would have been close.
Jake Bobo, that would have been a good one. But so offensive line, good news. Trent Brown was participating in team drills, not full go, but he was in there for a good amount. And then they just rotated those tackles pretty much at will. Connor McDermott, Riley Reif in there. Whether they were rotating at right with Trent at left, or if Trent came out, they would, bounce around on both sides. And even City So got some time with that kind of projected starting unit at right tackle. So Trent mentioned yesterday it was an injury. Doesn't seem like that serious if he's out there now in full pads. And then that other tackle spot, like, we're just going to keep rotating these guys, it looks like, until one of them can maybe separate from the pack a little bit.
Yeah, so I'd say an encouraging sign for Trent Brown. Still seems like he's got a way to go, but he's building up. That's what we want to see. I'd be surprised if we see him on Thursday. Connor McDermott, Riley Reif, the battle continues. And what I'm really curious about, so Trent not practicing, it's been the right tackle battle, but Riley Reif's been on the left side because they need the bodies. I would guess that's going to be the starting tackle combination for the game is Reif on the left side, McDermott on the right side. But at the same time, they got to figure out a way to get Reif's reps on the right side, because we got to see it. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But yeah, this is going to be for any line position, you really need the preseason games themselves to evaluate. And this is really our biggest chance yet to see what's going on at that right tackle spot.
Yep. And that defensive line, they kind of took it to the offensive line and one-on-one battles. Speak of those tackles, Matt Judon had his first one-on-one of the summer here, as fresh off the contract restructure. Beat Riley Reif. It wasn't a dominant win, but he still beat him. And then McDermott got beat. Really good rep by Keon White. So those two guys losing their one-on-ones, which is something they've been kind of good at throughout the summer. We've talked, like, they're winning the one-on-ones, then you move over to 11s, and it's not always great. Today, it wasn't really great at either stage of practice. So Keon White, big win over McDermott, beat Jake Andrews too, and then Devon Godchow really had a nice win over Antonio Maffei, kind of round out that defense. But David Andrews, he looks solid as ever. He had a big win over Christian Barmore, and Chasen Hines, I thought it was interesting. He pitched in 2 wins. But throughout that kind of session, it was the defensive line kind of taking it to him again.
And we're going to get the answer to that question that we've been talking about a lot. Which which way is it with what we've seen from both the offensive and defensive line? Is the defensive line as good as the offensive line this bad? I think it's some of both, but we finally get to see the defensive line against, for lack of a better term, an appropriate level of competition. And for the offensive line, I mean, it's still going to be a struggle for the offensive line. They have all backups. I don't know what more we're going to learn about them, but for that, like, I know Titus Howard got hurt, I think it was yesterday or today. So the Texans will be without one of their starting tackles, but for the most part, I would assume that if CJ Stroud's playing, they're going to want to protect him as best they can. So we're going to get to see this defensive line finally against at least more than half of a starting offensive line on the other side, which is more than you can say for what's been the majority of this training camp.
Yep. And I saw someone said Bamore picked up a right guard. That was yesterday. Yes. He gave poor Cody Rusey the old Reggie White hump move and just kind of dumped him on his backside. But David Andrews wasn't having that today. He had a nice win over him. But that was pretty much all the one-on-ones. We said again, a lot of, the scout team work with the card throughout practice. A lot of Malik Cunningham back at quarterback. So looks like we might get a good look at him, which will be fun Thursday night. Looked all right passing, like the short field, little rusty, airing it out a little bit. But that athleticism, that elusiveness, that'll just be fun to watch on Thursday, and how they kind of run that scout team offense with him.
Yeah, I'm excited for it because we haven't really seen the Patriots run an offense like that.
Yeah,
and it's going to be interesting to see. And they'll have speed on the field. I mean, some of these guys aren't going to make the team because they may not have the skill, but him, Thyrick Pitts, Trey Nixon, like that's fast offense. Scotty Washington, that's a fast offense. They don't have the skill. Like that's not going to be their starting offense. Obviously, most of those guys won't make the team, but it'll be fun to watch. Like sometimes there's things in the preseason. I know people are going to kind of roll their eyes at me about this. And again, I can hear Felger do this on your own time, but there's some preseason things that are just fun. Like you're not going to get to see like Malik Cunningham running this offense in New England. You're not going to get to see that in the regular season. This is when you're going to get to see it. It'll be fun to watch. Certain guys going off, like the Ralph Webb thing. Ralph Webb was never going to make the Patriots. He was never going to make the team, but he just was a beast in that preseason. It was cool to see. So I think Malik Cunningham is going to be that guy this year to like, well, we all know deep down, it doesn't mean anything in terms of the big picture of the 2023 Patriots, but those preseason games, especially once you get to, night games on Friday and Saturday, weeks 2 and 3, it can start to become a slog. So I think Malik Cunningham will provide a little pick me up. I'm trying to remember who that was last year. It was kind of little Jordan Humphrey, but he also had a chance to make the team. He did make the team.
Yeah.
So that one was a little different, but yeah, there's always like the crave on the block here, right? There's always one or two guys that aren't going to make the team, but they're just you're happy for them. They're out there living their dream, and it's fun to watch.
You might as well have fun while you're doing it, right? If you got to go through it, you might as well have fun. But anything else, offense, defense, takeaways? We'll jump to special teams here in a second, but anything else you got in from your notebook today?
I mean, there were hang times. There were hang times today. It was another dominant day for Bryce Baringer. I'm trying to load my notebook. I think we talked about the Gesicki catch, right?
Yep, love with that.
So there was that. Tyquan had a good day. Oh, this was just really interesting, and it goes back to something I said before about how it feels like they're maybe a little ahead of schedule. They're doing some things I haven't seen them do in the past in camp. They did a 2-minute drill where it was like a 2-minute drill with the lead. So the offense had the ball, running the ball, try to kill the 2 minutes, and the defense had to try to get the ball back. I don't recall seeing them do that kind of 2-minute drill, but it was very interesting to watch.
Yeah.
So I got that as note. Oh, and Trey Flowers not practicing starting the season on PUP. Not surprising to me. He hasn't been on a football field in months. It's going to have to get in shape.
Yeah. Bill kind of mentioned that this morning, right? It's like he hasn't played in a while, which I think IR with that foot injury in September, I think he only played like 60 snaps for Miami last year. So he's on the pup list here. Bill said didn't expect him to practice anytime soon. He's got to kind of work back into things. So maybe we'll see him at some point down the line this summer, but who knows? That's where Trey Flowers is at. But let's get into that specialist stuff. Kickers or punters? Where do you want to start?
Let's start with the kicker.
So it was Ryland's day after Folk handled it yesterday. He was 3 for 4 with like a live rush, quote unquote, if you want to call it. And then he had another make kind of from deep with just that snapper and the holder. all looked to be about in that 45, 50-yard range, and I think his miss was just a little wide right. So him and Folk, they're pretty consistent with just like 3 for 4, 4 for 5 days here going back and forth.
Yeah, it's still just Ryland hitting a 45-yard field goal looks a lot different than Nick Folk hitting a 45-yard field goal, right? Ryland puts it through when it's 3/4 of the way up the uprights. Folk from 45, you're holding on to the edge of your seat. So I still have the edge to Ryland, the strong edge to Ryland.
Yep. And he was kickoffs today because they're just alternating days, both of those jobs, it looks like. So, the ball just at the height, the distance, you can just see it off the foot a little bit. It's just more Ryland. And then Behringer still the top holder throughout that, and then he was booming the ball again today. I know you have the hang times, but we'll play a little video because Alex asked Mario Douglas, who was returning today, and he had that muff, and he caught that one in the in-stadium from Behringer the other night, which was like 65 yards, and he had to run backwards. And you'll see his reaction when he asked him about Behringer. It's the same reaction I have, but we'll play it here quick.
Tell us just along those lines. What can you tell us about Bryce Behringer? What have you learned about him? Just kind of how's his ball to read?
Yeah, he kicked that. I say we got two good punters. One with the left foot and one with the right. So going with both of them, I see. So whenever we have a different team with, whatever kicker, I'll be prepared. So I say both of our kickers, Bryce right leg, he boots that thing, and Corliss's left leg kicks it.
Tell us just.
So as he said, he boots that thing, which is
right. So Behringer boots it, Waitman kicks it. You can tell at the beginning there because I asked him specifically because I asked Behringer about this. Like, are you doing anything different? There's all these muff punts. How does the ball come off your foot? And he's like, I can't control it. It does what it does. But I think he's trying to keep some of the company secrets in house there. But you could tell right away, Demario Douglas, he caught himself. He didn't remember there were two punters, but ooh, he boots that thing. So, and he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Yeah, he's awesome. Did you have the hang times? You want to read them?
I don't have them in front of me, but I know Behringer maxed out at 4.82 today. I think Waitman maxed out about 4.6.
There were no 5+ bombs, but still,
no, but it was the drill they were doing. They were working on kicking out of the end zone, so that's a quick release. You're not gonna get a 5-second hang time from that spot. You're prioritizing distance over height on those kicks.
Yeah, but still looks like that rookie duo is in the lead here. Things would need to go really south really quickly for them to probably get past. But I think that kind of wraps up, today's practice. So we will get into a little more preview for Thursday's game here in a second, but let's hear from our good pals over at FanDuel before we do so.
Football season is about to kick off, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to win all season long. Right now, when you bet on a Super Bowl winner, you can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. Just pick any team to win the Super Bowl, and you'll get bonus bets for every victory. I wonder how many people are going to bet on the Patriots. You can use your bonus bets on spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston and start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/Boston.
All right, so preseason opener Thursday night. Again, doesn't look like we'll see Mac or many of those frontline starters, but I guess right out of the gate, is any guys that you're like really watching closely here as we kick things off?
Well, it's funny. All the Bailey Zappi people are finally going to get to hear Patriots starting quarterback Bailey Zappi, so enjoy it while you can. For me, given, like you said, the guys that we don't think aren't going to play some of those top line guys, there's two, call it 3 spots I'm really looking at. 3 things I'm really looking at. First off, that right tackle position, which we already kind of discussed. The battle between Connor McDermott, Riley Reef, can City Sal maybe get himself in that conversation? We'll find out, but first real chance to evaluate them. The second thing I'm looking at, another position battle, wide receiver, Tyquan Thornton, Demario Douglas. You want to throw Kayshon Boutte in there? I think that's totally fair, but it's Demario Douglas and Boutte. It's their first live NFL rep, so that will tell us a lot. Can Thornton build off the day he had today? We don't know. It's wide open to me between those 3 guys. If I had to rank them, I would go, and this is all things considered, just in terms of how I think the team's looking at him right now. Douglas, Thornton, Booty, but it's all super close. That could all completely change by the time, Thursday night rolls around. But I think seeing those guys, and Thornton needs to play. I know some of the more veteran receivers aren't playing, but he's a guy that's got to play. I think we learn a lot about how those three stack up on Thursday night. The final thing, just rookies. Christian Gonzalez against, will Robert Woods play? Will Nico Collins play? Will we get to see him against some experienced NFL wide receivers? Want to see Keon White, how he handles contact, how he handles a full physical game. I think he's a guy that will get spotlighted a lot. Marte Mapu, where are they using him? How are they using him? I'd love to see him get some coverage reps on Dalton Schultz. I think that would be super informative. I'd like to see him maybe spy CJ Stroud a little bit, see how he looks in that role, how comfortable he looks in that role. And then obviously Demario Douglas, who I talked about. I think those are the rookies that'll be spotlighted.
Yeah. How much do you think we'll see Mapu? Because he's still in that red non-contact jersey.
Yeah, so that's fair. I'm not sure. I'd like to see it. I'm not. Yeah. I'm kind of 50-50 on that. There's been times in the past where guys have been in a red jersey, non-contact, gone out, played in the preseason game, and then just been in the red non-contact on the other side, like coming out of the game. So maybe he's limited. I'm not entirely sure, but if he does play, I think it could be a really informative night in terms of what their plan is for him this year.
Yeah, I hope we get to see him. But you pretty much nailed like the big three there. Other ones, like the right tackle will obviously be the headline on that O-line, but there's a ton of like depth pieces along the interior. Obviously, they drafted a bunch of guys, so there's not room for everyone. So seeing if one of those, maybe it's a Cody Russi or one of these, Jake Andrews or Antonio Mafi can separate themselves from the rest of the bunch here, because we had them like 9 O-linemen, so there's not room for everyone. That competition will be good. And then the running backs, Kevin Harris, Pierre Strong, they still haven't brought anyone in. Can one of these guys kind of separate, become that number 2 spellback here, and maybe say, hey, we don't need to go at a Zeke Elliott or something like that. So seeing good games, good performances from them, run game, pass game, that would be an encouraging sign here to start off the preseason.
I think that's a really good point, Brian. Honestly, we've talked about, and I just had Bob Sosi on the 98.5 The Sports Hub Patriots podcast, and we talked a little bit about the running back position. Actually, I think we had this conversation after. So me and Bob do a podcast, as we do, continue the conversation after. But this is kind of a big chance for, we've talked about Leonard Fournette, Ezekiel Elliott, maybe Dalvin Cook. I still don't think that's happening. But this is kind of a big chance for either Kevin Harris and or Pierre Strong to step up and say, you don't need to sign another running back. I can be the number 2 guy. I can make plays. Really big chance, because those guys, I don't think either of them have been bad so far in camp. They haven't. No. But I don't think either of them have been good either. There hasn't been a lot to get excited about from either one. They've just kind of been there, which, for 3rd or 4th running back isn't a bad trade, especially guys entering his 2nd year. But they're trying to replace Damien Harris, who was a true number 2 running back. So they do need, if one of those guys isn't going to emerge, they are going to need to sign another running back. They may need to anyway, but it could be the difference between signing Ezekiel Elliott or Leonard Fournette to be your second back versus, Strong or Harris becomes your second back, and then you're signing, CJ Marable, some guy out of the USFL, to just be a depth guy.
Body, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there haven't been too much like run heavy like opportunities for them to really impress so far, but yeah, if one of them can really have a good preseason game here, then maybe lead into it next week with a good couple joint practices and just say, hey, like, we got it, we can take this bigger role on. That would be really encouraging out of the backfield, because we've said it so much. They need someone there to take some of that workload off Ramondre Stevenson. And I like Pierre Strong, his speed, fantastic. They can get it out there. Kevin Harris just seems like a kind of like a Damian Harris, just one of those efficient runners. Yeah. So if one of them can do it, that would be awesome, especially rookie contracts and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
But those are pretty much big things I'm watching. Obviously, kickers and punters get in that stadium. I think it's gonna be a good weather night Thursday, but seeing live action how in that new stadium with the scoreboard will be interesting, and hopefully we can talk to maybe some of the returners after, see how the ball flutters and things like that.
I think it's actually supposed to rain Thursday night.
I just was going to say, yeah, it looks like some rain. So even to make that a little more interesting on the
and some wind, 14-mile-an-hour winds. So we'll see. Stakes are high.
I'm guessing it'll be the rookies for that. I don't think they need to see Nick Folk in the preseason or anything. So I'd expect Ryland and Behringer there.
Same. Yeah.
Yep. So any last preseason thoughts before we can get into some fun stuff with some rookie numbers here?
No, let's hear from LinkedIn and then get into that.
All right.
I just want to let everybody know that today's Patriots Beat is brought to you by LinkedIn Solutions. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Super easy. Everybody's on LinkedIn, right? You get those notifications, boom, right on your phone. You can put the little banner there on your profile picture that you're hiring. So LinkedIn Jobs makes it super easy. LinkedIn Talent Solutions makes it super easy. So you just do all that, add the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience. You can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. Again, the right members. So they'll help you make sure, you're weeding out all those candidates and you're getting the guy or girl that you ultimately want. You're getting the person you ultimately want to take your small business to the next level. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/beat. That's linkedin.com/beat, B-E-A-T, to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, so the first preseason game also marks the first time rookies get new numbers. They'll ditch their 50s and 60s. So we'll have a little fun to end here and go through and try to predict. I think Christian Gonzalez is an easy 0, right? No one has
I'm going to give you a hot take, Brian. I don't think he's getting 0. I don't think he's getting 0. Not now.
Oh, you think they're going to wait till the regular season?
I would remind people, if you're waiting for tomorrow or Thursday or whenever it is to go rush out and buy the jersey, Christian Barmore wore 70 as a rookie in the preseason, later switched to 90. Jack Jones was 34, switched to 13 for the regular season. That one might have been a downgrade, but he made it work. So the numbers aren't finalized because guys are going to get cut and guys will still switch. And I just don't think Christian Gonzalez is going to get 0 for the preseason. I don't think he is. I don't think any rookies are going to get any single-digit numbers until they actually make the team. So what does that leave for Christian Gonzalez? 30, I don't know. Yeah, maybe something. So 30's available. That would be the only one with a 0 in it. So maybe 30, right? Because 20's retired, 40's retired. What else even would he be eligible for? I mean, they're not going to reissue 12. I guess in theory he could take 14, 17, or 19. Because those are guys who aren't definitely going to make the team, who you can have 2 guys with the same numbers as long as they're on opposite sides of the ball. So maybe something like that. Yeah, I'm going to say
30-some. If you're not going 0, then I'd say 30.
I'm going to say 30, or maybe Montgomery's too much of a lock at 14. So I'm going to say 30, 17, or 19 for Gonzalez. Just a hunch.
So could Keon White could wear 6, right? If it's just Nick Folk,
unless they want to have him on the field goal unit, because so when I say different sides of the ball, what the rule really is you can't have 2 guys on the field with the same number at the same time. So I think Keon White's a guy who does kind of project as a field goal unit player.
Yep.
I wonder if 76. I know Calvin Anderson has it, but I could see him in 76. He's a guy, again, like Christian Barmore. I could see him maybe in the 70s, 72, 73, something like that. I also feel like he'd look cool in 99, big defensive lineman, but I know you're probably saving that one. So.
Oh, yeah, I'm saving that. Yeah, he would look good in that one. But Mapu, I think he looks pretty good in 52. I know he wore the NFL PA Bowl or whatever that just got canceled actually today, that he played in. He wore 54. So I think he was 5 in college, right? But that's taken by Peppers. So
that's taken.
I was going like 52, stay in 52 or maybe 54.
Every year there's one guy that keeps his number of the rookie class. Now I could see Keon White at the end of the day keeping 51. He's going to change out of it. I could see him going back to it. But if anybody else, look, they like giving 54 to linebackers. After Brewski, they gave it to Hightower after a brief stint at guard with Brian Waters. But I think 52 or 54 for Mapu make a lot of sense. I think one of those two, because 5 would be sick, but he's not getting 5. And actually, I'll give you one more I could see with him. He's not going to get this in the preseason. I wonder if he'd wear 15 in the regular season, assuming Waitman doesn't make the team.
Yeah, I could see that. Definitely.
Although 30 could work from 2. Some people point out in the chat that one's not taken.
And then, so I went Jake Andrews back to 55, which he wore at Troy, and then Mafi.
He's not going to get 55.
Really? Why not?
Because Josh Uche is too much of an established player. If they're going to double up, it won't be with an established player.
I wasn't even thinking that.
I could see Andrews staying at 53.
Yeah, I could see that. And then I had Mafi. He wore 56 in college, so that seems...
That's retired.
That's
pseudo-retired. It's not retired, but it should be. They don't issue it anymore. It's not officially retired, but nobody's worn it since Andre Tippett. 56 and 57 are both retired.
So where do you have Mafi going?
So Sal will probably go somewhere in the 70s. Mafi, give me 68 for Antonio Mafi.
68.
Are we writing these down? Are we keeping track of these? We're going to see who gets more of them right. Somebody go back through all this and just tweet the list out and let us know who won at the end of the day. Okay. Our viewers are awesome. Somebody's going to do it.
All right. We'll see it. Even though half the numbers I listed are retired, apparently. But
I'll catch you if you give one that doesn't work.
All right. Booty. I was thinking 81.
Yeah, he's probably going to have to go in the 80s, right? You know what? Actually, I like 83 for him. I don't know. He's got a little Deion Branch in his game. A little bit.
I went Douglas 83 because he wore 3 in college and Booty was 1. So I just added an 8. That's how I did that. But
I'll give you mine on Douglas in a second. The thing that scares me with Booty, if he makes the team, Scotty Washington's not going to make the team. Booty could be a guy that wears 17.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And I don't love that. Like regular season, he's not going to get it right now. Demario Douglas should be number 80. Punt returner, small, wiggly wide receiver. Troy Brown's got to go to him and pass the baton. I need to see. Maybe even more than I need to see Gonzalez in 0, and 19 or 17 would suck for him. 30 maybe, that's a little bit easier to swallow. He's not getting 24. I know people want that. Joshua Bledsoe's keeping that, but I would take Christian Gonzalez in a weird number before I would take Demario Douglas in 80 if it means Christian Gonzalez in a weird number. If there is one number I need, I know you have yours. We're going to get to. We'll call this one the lock. We get 2 points if we get this right. Making up the rules as we go. I need Demario Douglas in number 80. That would be sick.
That would be. Yeah, I was between
you're on the right track with 83. You're on the right track with 83.
I was at 80 or 83, but he wore 3, so I went 83 there. And
no, that's probably a good guess.
Still that slot number. So
who has 13 right now?
Jack Jones.
Who has 13? Oh no, 13's Jack. 13's Jack.
And then
this is an interesting one. 30 for Douglas. Give him that kind of hybrid. That could be interesting because he is going to do some running back type stuff. All right. You know what? I could see that, but no, I want him in 80.
Yeah. 80 number would be best for him.
Yeah.
Speed and Bolden. I was that same type of thing with Gonzalez. There just aren't many numbers really to go around there. I was going to say if Gonzalez is 0, I had Bolden in 30 because I think he wore 3 again, or he was 23, but he also wore 3 in high school, I think. So I went 30 for Bolden. I don't even know what Speed would wear because he was 6 at Michigan State and 9 at Georgia, I believe. So those are obviously taken. But
I would say you're probably looking at 30 and 37 for those two. Yeah. Either way, they're both open.
Yep. So that would make sense there. Malik, he's a quarterback technically.
That's going to be an interesting one. They're going to have
20?
to double up on numbers.
Is
Retire.
20 a quarterback number? Oh, retired, yeah.
22 is Doug Flutie, but 20 is retired. 22. No, 22. Yeah, Malik Cunningham's going to be tricky.
He could be like a 15 or 17 with one of those.
Get like 3 or 5.
You cut out there.
You got me?
Got you now.
All right. Yeah. It's going to be tough. Okay. Cunningham, this is kind of getting tough. This is getting tricky.
Maybe like 15 with
back?
Waitman. Yeah. I think so.
Maybe. I could see that.
And then
maybe he gets 19.
Think that, or Helig. Maybe
you know what the other thing is,
66.
I wouldn't rule out. I wouldn't rule out Cunningham getting a number in the 80s and then just playing quarterback. I wouldn't rule that out either.
Just more fun, right? Add more fun to the
right. Exactly. No. Yeah.
Ryland,
Helig's going to get some number in the 40s. Ryland could end up getting a number in the 40s. So kickers can wear 0 to 49 and then 99.
They're pretty.
And 90 to 99. Sorry.
So 40 is open. 40 is the only number in the 40s.
No, retired. Retired.
Jeez. If so, they're gonna have to double up there.
94 is open.
That's true. That could be like Justice Tavai, or I could see him staying at 68, honestly.
Or it could be Chad Ryland.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
94 and 99, the dynamic duo, because Bryce Behringer is going back to 99 just to complete the look.
Make it look like college football.
But I think, or unless you have one for Thyrick Pitts, I think those are all the rookies that we.
Yeah, Thyrick Pitts might still wear 67. I have no idea. That's the other thing we forgot about. This. Some numbers will open up. Like I'm scrolling the roster, like 67 will open up for the lineman, right? Because Thyrick Pitts is changing his number.
Yeah.
50 will open up for the lineman because Christian, or for linebackers. Maybe Marte Mapu wears 50 because Christian Gonzalez obviously won't have it anymore. So it all juggles. But my bold prediction is Gonzalez does not get 0 for the preseason. I think he might get it for the regular season, but not for the preseason. And I need to see Demario Douglas in 80. Those are my two big number takes.
Those would be awesome. Well, Douglas would be cool. I want Gonzalez in 0, but I could see a way they don't do that right away. But as long as Behringer gets 99, I'll be happy because that'll be awesome. But
so we need Behringer in 99 and we need Douglas in 80.
Douglas in 80, and then we'll be all set. We'll just be good for the rest of the summer. But yeah, so they should get those. They'll either announce them tomorrow or like Thursday morning before.
It's usually like Thursday early afternoon.
Yeah, so we'll be on the lookout for those. But believe that'll do it for us here tonight. We'll be back sometime to break down the game, or there might be another training camp practice added to the mix here before they leave for Green Bay. But in the meantime, you can go follow Alex on Twitter at RealAlexBarth and go read all his training camp coverage over at 985thesportshub.com. And follow me on Twitter at @IamBrianHines and go read all my training camp coverage over at patspulpit.com. And thank you all, as always, for tuning in, and we will see you guys sometime